Welcome to Excel again. Today we'll be discussing about SUMIFS and COUNTIFs. So previously we learned COUNTIF and SUMIF. Now S will be added to it. So only the difference is that the number of criteria. I'm writing over here. COUNTIFs. So we can write, if we want to count cells having more than one criteria, then we have to use COUNTIFs. So this is the thing that we have. If we want to count cells having more than one criteria, then we have to use COUNTIFs. So how can a criteria be? For example, if we want to know how many employees are there from the state Indiana or say Michigan, so it is not possible for us to count manually one after another because the database can be larger one. So eventually we have a small database to show how the function works. So now our question comes that how many employees are there from Michigan, and we are applying more than one criteria, so we are writing like this: how many female employees are there from Michigan. Now we have two criteria. One is the employee should be from Michigan, and the other is the employee should be female. So the criteria is more than one, that means two criteria are there. So on these two criteria we have to count the number of employees. So to do so, we'll have to apply COUNTIFs. We are applying, see the parameters, criteria range 1 comma criteria 1. It will go on like this: criteria range 2 comma criteria 2, criteria range 3 comma criteria 3. It will go on like this. So the number of criteria may be more than one, so it can be any number, 2, 3, 4, 5. It may be any number. All we have to do is we have to keep the sequence right. So first of all, criteria range 1, so we are taking that range male female. This is the range, and within criteria we have to write F, as F is written there in the database under the gender column. So I have written F. We have to remember one thing, that whatever will be taking as criteria, and that criteria will be there in which column, that would be selected as criteria range. Now the second criteria range is the name of the state, so I am selecting this data range in which Michigan is there, and now after this, within double inverted comma, I am writing Michigan. Now closing the bracket, I am hitting enter key. So it is showing exactly 2. That means 2 employees are there that are female and are from Michigan. We can see that these are the male employees within Michigan, and if we come to here, we can see that within Michigan, this is one employee named Monica, and the other one is this one, Brit. So these two are there only from Michigan, so it is showing 2. So in this way COUNTIF function works. Again I am summarizing. COUNTIF function counts based on criteria that are more than one. If a single criteria is there, we can easily use COUNTIF. If more than one criteria is there, then we have to use COUNTIFs. So let me tell you one more thing, that if we are having only one criteria, then also we can use COUNTIFs. So COUNTIFs is applicable in case of single criteria as well as more than one criteria. So this is the utility of COUNTIFs. Now say I am adding one more criteria to it. I am writing how many female employees are there from Michigan whose sales are more than say more than 150. So this is what I have written. How many female employees are there from Michigan whose sales are more than 150? Now this criteria has been added to it. That means we have three criteria. One is female, other is the state name Michigan, and the other one is the sale is more than 150. So we have applied two criteria, that is female and Michigan. Now we have to add one more, that is sales. So after Michigan we have to put a comma, then I have to select the range, that is the sales column, and now we are giving the criteria within inverted comma greater than 150. Now we can see that exactly we have selected three ranges followed by their criteria. So three criteria are there. Now we are hitting the enter key. We can see only one. So only one employee from Michigan is there, female employee is there, whose sale is more than 150. We can see this one, Monica, and no other female employee is there from Michigan whose sale is more than 150. So this is the use of COUNTIFs. I think this function is quite clear to you, and in this section I am writing the syntax of this function. The syntax is equal to COUNTIFs, I can write like this, range 1, criteria 1, range 2, criteria 2. In this way it will go on. So you can have as many criteria as you want. So the thing is that if you have more than one criteria, then definitely you to count the cells based on the criteria you have to use COUNTIFs, and this is applicable for single criteria as well as more than one criteria. So that's all from COUNTIF side. Next of it I will discuss SUMIFS. That is quite like the same as SUMIF. The only the difference is that in case of SUMIF we have only one criteria, and in case of SUMIFS we should have more than one criteria. And in this case also it works. If we have only one criteria, then also we can use SUMIFS. It is applicable to both the scenarios. So how it works, I am writing over here. if we want to sum up cell values having more than one criteria, then we have to use SUMIFS. So now I am giving an example, a practical example, to show how the function works. So our question is, how much cells have been made by female employees from Colorado. So this is my question, how much cells have been made by female employees from Colorado. We can see that here we have two criteria. One is the employee has to be female, and the other one is she has to be from Colorado. So these are the two criteria that we will supply to sum up the cells made by that particular criteria. So here we are applying the same, equal to, this is SUMIFS. Within SUMIFS we can see sum range is there, it comes at the beginning of the function, sum range. So it will be that range from which the values will be added. So the values from the cells column will be added, so we are selecting this one. And then we have the same thing, criteria range 1 comma criteria 1, criteria range 2 comma criteria 2. In this way it will go on. So now the range 1 is, we have written female employees from Colorado, so I am taking gender as the first range, and then within double inverted comma we are writing F. And now the second range should be Colorado, that means the state column, this one, followed by comma, within double inverted comma we are writing Colorado. In this case we have to remember one thing, that the criteria that we are supplying should be the same as it is written in the database. If it doesn't match, then the function will not be able to find out the values. So it is very necessary that whatever criteria we are supplying, we have to be careful while writing the criterias. So I have supplied two criterias over here along with the sum range, and now we are hitting the enter key, and we can see it is showing 422. So in this database we can see under the cells column we have many numbers. If we add them up, we can see it is showing 2680, but in this case it is showing 422 as it is working on that particular criteria. So how to cross check it? If we apply filter to it, and now we are applying filter to female portion, and now we are going to Colorado. Now we have got the cells. If we select them, and at the bottom hand side, at the bottom side at your right hand side, you can see the sum is showing 422. That means our result is correct. So this function works like this. If we have a large amount of data within which we have to find out some data according to some specific criteria, we can supply the criteria as per our requirement, and in this way we can find out the total sum of values by this function. So it is the utility of this function. Now I am writing the syntax of this function. We can see sum range is there at the beginning of it. Criteria range 1 comma criteria 1, criteria range 2 comma criteria 2. In this way it will go on. So this is the function. We can see this is the syntax of this function. SUMIFS, sum range, criteria range 1 comma criteria 1, criteria range 2 comma criteria 2. In this way it will go on. So there is a difference between SUMIF and SUMIFS. The difference is that their syntax is somehow different. In case of SUMIF, we have sum range as at the last of the parameter, and in case of SUMIFS, we have sum range at the beginning of the parameters. So this is the main difference. And the other difference is that whenever we are having only one criteria, we can use SUMIF, and if we have more than one criteria, then we have to use SUMIFS. Though SUMIFS can be used in case of one or more than one criteria. So it is applicable to both the cases. So that's all from SUMIFS. I think SUMIFS and COUNTIFS are quite clear to you. And again I am summarizing both the things, COUNTIFS and SUMIFS. COUNTIFS function counts based on some specific criteria. If the criteria is more than one, then only we can use some COUNTIFS. In case of SUMIFS, the same scenario. If we want to sum up the values based on more than one criteria, then we have to use SUMIFS. So S is being added up every time we are having more than one criteria. So this is only the difference that we have, and these functions are quite helpful once we have a larger database. To find out the values according to some specific criteria, we can easily use them, and in this way we can find out the values. We can use in case of date also. So I need to show one. For example, we have this question, and we are adding one more criteria to it, that will be from date column. So I am modifying the question right now. Colorado, whose date of payment is before one say it is 2022. So this is one more criteria that I have added. So what we'll have to do is we have to apply that criteria over here. So from dates column we have to select the dates column first, then we have to write the criteria. This is before 1/1/2022, that means we have to apply less than sign. Then I should write the date, that is 1/1/2022. Close it by inverted comma, then press the enter key. Again we are saying we are seeing that it is showing 422. Now let's check it. If we change the question to after, and now we have to modify this one also, we are writing greater than. Now hitting the enter key, now we can see no it is showing 0. That means no employee is there that is fulfilling all the criterias. So we have to check it once. So we are applying filter to it. Now we'll check it. We will give it female. Okay, then we will just a minute, we have to see what was the question. The question was that female employees from Colorado. Okay, the first one is female, second one is Colorado, and third one is the date 1/1/2022. Now let's apply the filters. This is F, state should be Colorado. Okay, now date filters before, I've given after, so now I'm writing 1/1/2022. If we click on OK, then we can see no employee is there that fulfilling all the criteria. So now I'm clearing the filter, and we can modify it like this: before, and we are changing it to less than. We can see it is showing 422. Now again we are applying filter. This is female, this is Colorado, and the date is date filters after, and now we are giving the date 2022. Now pressing OK. We have to see what was the question before. Sorry, I have done a mistake. Before means we have to apply, we have applied less than sign, so it is before. So again I am applying the filters, filter Colorado, and now the date filter, date filters, that is before. Now I am writing 1/1/2022. Now this value is coming, and if we select them, the sum total is showing 422. That means it is working all the three criterias. So in this way we can use SUMIF function to find out the values that fulfills the criterias that we supply. So that's all from SUMIFS and COUNTIFS. I have already shown how it works on multiple criterias. So only thing that we have to remember is that if we have multiple criterias, then if we want to count the cells, then we have to use COUNTIFS, and if we want to add up the cell values, then we have to use SUMIFS. That's all from COUNTIFS and SUMIFS. I think that is quite clear to you. Thank you.